If you are in Nigeria, you will notice the big rivalry between these two chocolate drink brands, Bournvita and Milo. And this rivalry has been so intense, lasting for over decades, costing millions of dollars, and it has shaped how Nigerians consume beverage. This is very intense, and I want to share everything about their branding, marketing, and business tactics that you need to learn and apply in this video. At first, Bournvita, they held over 80% of the market share. People love them. Every home you go, you always see Bournvita. But Milo, on the other hand, they held just 5% of the market share. They were struggling, trying to get people and convince people to buy their products. This was a very tough situation for them at that time. But today, the story has flipped. Milo is now the giant of this industry. They are holding over 42% of the market share, while Bournvita, on the other end, is struggling with only 11% of the market share. How did this all happen? The secret to Milo's success is very easy, and you can implement it for your brand if you learn what I'm about to share in this video. This is something that smart business people are looking for and they are implementing every day to make sure that they can take a huge percentage of their market. Now let's get into it. Back then, most brands that were operating in the chocolate drink industry were marketing to adults. They believed that adults were the ones consuming chocolate drinks, but in reality, children were the ones that loved chocolate drinks so much. Adults barely drank it. They only consumed coffee and tea. Though children were not able to afford or buy chocolate drink by themselves because they don't have the money, where would they see it from? But they had something more powerful, bargaining power. They were able to convince their parents to buy chocolate drinks for them. Children were the real influencers. Milo, struggling to gain market share, was looking for a secret and a strategy on how they can win, and they noticed this and they built their brand around children. During this process, they adopted a new tagline and they called their drink the energy drink. But then the Food and Drug Administration asked them to drop that claim, and they did, and they picked something else, and that one was where the real juice came in. It was called the food drink for future champions. From their research, they noticed that children love three things: sports, fashion, and music. So it was tricky for them to go all out on those three and build their brand around it. So they choose just one area: sports. With that, drinking Milo was not just breakfast, it was a real identity. For parents, they looked that they are building the next champion. And for children, they looked that they were the next champion themselves. And so they loved drinking Milo. It did not end there. They even went to school sponsoring inter-house sports and giving children Milo after each race. They even created this unforgettable jingle. You will remember the Milo! This was so popular in schools and children love it so much. And then came Super Strikers, one of the most popular comic football series out there. It was so interesting that children love it, and behind it was Milo sponsoring it, making sure that their product was shown in the series. All this were giving Milo a huge advantage in the market, and they were beginning to catch up with Bournvita, even while other brands were being introduced into the market. And Milo saw something else which they can do, and they can introduce it. With that, they will take a very huge percentage of the market. And that was the introduction of Choco Milo, these tiny cubes that children could buy with their pocket money. They could snack on it anytime. Anytime they take on these tiny cubes, it gives them the remembrance. It made children so obsessed with the brand because they could drink Milo in the morning at home. They will snack on these tiny cubes during their lunch break. And when they get back home again, they will still demand for Milo. This made Milo live rent-free in the minds of children. At this point, Milo was already winning in the market. They had over 20%, growing into 30% of the market share. But then they wanted more. They wanted to take more of the market, and they were looking at one thing that they can do. Since Nigeria was a third world country, a lot of people were in the middle class and even the lower class. Milo introduced this. the sachets form version of their products. This made people who were unable to afford Milo as a thing to buy the single-use sachets. And it gave Milo a huge advantage, making them both premium and affordable for everyone. And having these products, they made sure that their distribution was very wide. Because they were owned by Nestle, every shops and supermarket and corners had Milo in sachet form or tin form to sell to anybody who wanted it. At this point in time, they took over the leadership position from Bournvita. Milo was so loved by children, and even while these children grew up, they still kept on using Milo as their preferable beverage. So that is how the rivalry between these two brands went on and on and on. But then when building your brand, you need to learn from Milo so well. They understand brand building process. They understood the difference between their consumers and their customers, because both of them are not the same. For Milo, parents were their customers and children were the consumers. They also knew who the real influencers for their products was, which was children, and those influencers were able to drag the customers to buy the products. So when building your brand, you need to understand the difference between your customers and your consumers. You need to know who the real influencers of your products are, and you need to find every means to shape their culture so that they can love your brand so much. If you can do that, you can build a global brand and you can penetrate any markets. I hope you learned from this. Make sure you subscribe and share this video to somebody who needs it. Go brand it.